Okay, recording has started. All right, well, for those of you who don't know, because we do have a very big group today, and some of you um, have not been here with me before, I am Terry Bruce. I'm the head of support for Fundly CRM. So I do all the trainings and webinars, and I work with Michael and Cecilia, helping them. Occasionally you'll see my name on sport tickets. And today is the July new release sneak peek preview of the changes that will be coming to Fundly CRM V2 on Monday. And there's kind of three main impact areas that the new build will be releasing. There's a few other miscellaneous items in there that will all be detailed in the newsletter that will go out on Monday. If you don't get a newsletter on Monday, that newsletter will be in the support library and you will be able to access it there. There are some people who, I don't know if it's going to your spam or you may not be subscribed or it's getting blocked or getting misdirected or something, but I do know there are some people who just never seem to get the newsletter. But we do always send out a newsletter on the day of a new release, and we do put that into the support library too. So the three main impact areas for this build are going to be pages, and I'll talk about that in a second, what that means if you're not familiar with pages. It's going to be reports and reporting, and it's going to be communications. And communications, when I say communications, I mean everything that is under the communications menu: labels and letters, managing your templates, newsletters, sending acknowledgments, and donation acknowledgments. Also has an impact on event templates as well, event invitations and event notifications. I think you're going to like the changes that are coming, and you may cheer throughout this webinar if you really like the sound of something and are really excited that we're releasing some functionality that you've been hoping for or waiting for. Applause is welcome and encouraged. So let's get started. The first area we're going to talk about is pages. Pages, for those of you who may not be familiar, is one of the ways that you can integrate your Fundly CRM with your website. So pages, which is this link here on your main menu, is where you can set up an event page, a donation page, or a membership page that you can integrate with your website. It sits on our servers, and so people come to your website, they click a link, and that link brings them to the donation page or the event page or the membership sign-up page. And that sits on our servers, but you can configure it to look and feel like your website. So in most cases, most people don't even know that they've left your website. And then once they complete their event registration or donation, they can be sent back to your website. Well, one of the things, one of the drawbacks to pages has been that it does require users to create a public profile and log in. They have to log in first before they can do an event registration or a membership. Logging in is not required to do a donation via pages, but it is for somebody's asking if I'm showing it something different dashboard. No, we're still on the dashboard. But the login is required for the events and the memberships. So guess what's changing as of Monday? That's right, we are introducing a guest checkout feature for pages now. That has always been available for plugins. So those of you who use the WordPress plugins, there's no change for you, but you've always had the ability to do guest checkout and people not having to create profiles. Okay, we have cheering. Yay! I knew you'd be excited. This has been the one thing about pages that has kind of been a challenge for some of our clients and their users. So Monday, guest checkout will be integrated into pages. The other feature that is coming out is the ability to do URL masking or create custom URLs for pages. So that is anybody who's really paying attention when they click the link from your website will see that the URL changes and directs them to our site where your page sits. You will be able to mask that, so it will look like people have never left your page, or to also do shorter URLs too. So those are two new features that are coming out for pages as part of Monday. in the very near future, within the next couple of weeks, not ready for Monday, but within the next couple of weeks, we also will be introducing some new templates, some default templates for pages that are a little more up to date and kind of, modern and streamlined and mobile optimized and sexy. So look for those coming soon as well. If anybody has any questions about the pages stuff, let me know. This is the opportunity for any questions about that. All right. Okay, so let's talk about reporting now. Y'all are gonna love this. You are gonna like this. Get your confetti ready. So we got some big changes coming to reporting Monday. Currently, right now, your main menu looks like this: default reports, enhanced reports. When you come to enhanced reports, which are reports that you can create within your system, you come to the enhanced reports index screen. This will provide a list of your existing reports that you and your members have created. And from here on the drop down on the right, you can run the report, you can schedule a report, you can edit, delete, and copy the report. On Monday, what you're going to see instead, I'm going to switch to my demo system now. First is enhanced reports are getting renamed custom reports. This is how they were named in V1, and this is kind of more in line with customers' expectations and sort of the naming scheme throughout the system. So custom reports will replace enhanced reports. And when you come to the custom reports area now, you're going to come to this new index screen. There we go, ta-da! And this is the new custom reports index screen. Here you're going to have some tooltips and some navigational aids that will help you get around and navigate. New reports will be created by clicking on the plus sign in the upper right. Seeing your list of reports is accessed through the page icon. In addition, you can access default reports as well as your own reports from the custom reports area now. So you can come in here, drop down the list. This is the list of default reports. From here, this will be your org name, and in your folder, you'll see a list of your reports. Little icons have been introduced to show you what type of report a report is before you even run it. And so that links right here. You'll see the little icons that will indicate the type of report, which will make it easier to determine before you run a report what type of report it is. Clicking on the report, the information button will now pop up here instead of you having to click the little I button and pop up a pop-up window. You can export the report and run it in different formats right from here. Another big change is users now have the ability to fully manage scheduled reports. Currently, you can schedule a report, whether it's a default report or a custom report that you've created. You can schedule it to run on a set schedule and email itself to you or whoever else you want it to email it to. However, you cannot edit that schedule and you cannot stop that schedule. You have to email us at support to do that. As of Monday, you will be able to fully manage your scheduled reports. So you will be able to edit your schedules and delete any schedules as well. In addition, big change, the part you can start sharing about. Couple things. Standard reports, what's currently called a standard report, has been renamed advanced reports to more accurately reflect the type of reporting that that format is used for. And we're now introducing something called Express View. Express View reports are a streamlined drag and drop user interface to make reporting easier. When you're in the Express View, all you have to do is just go into the list of fields over here and drill down till you find the field you want. So if I want to create a basic donor report and I want the donor name and the date of the donation and the amount of the donation, I can just grab those fields, drag and drop them onto the report. I'm going to go find my donations here, donation amount, donation date, and I can keep adding fields to this report. I can drag to reorder the columns as well. And sorting, grouping, and filtering are done from these radial menu buttons. So I can add grouping. I can add filters and I can sort. When adding filters, it opens up the filter window over here on the right. You can do all or and filters and any filters. You can add multiple filters, so you can actually write fairly complicated queries here to limit the data that you've seeing on your report. You can add totals, so you can add counts, distinct counts, and for any currency fields, you will also get a sum as well, and an average. When adding grouping, I'm going to group by date. You can add subtotals as well per grouping, as well as a report total. You can add charts to your reports by clicking the visualization button, and you're going to get an automatic chart, and then you'll open up a chart window over here where you can change the chart colors and layouts and the style, whether it's a bar or a pie chart or a line graph or whatever you want. To run a report, all you have to do is click live data, and that's going to pull up the report in real time. You can export ExpressView reports to PDF, Excel, et cetera, and you can convert ExpressView reports into standard reports, so that if you do need the advanced functionality of a standard or advanced report to write formulas is one of the things you cannot do here, then you will be able to do that. So Cheryl, yeah, I think your screen must have frozen. It's trying to run my report, but that one's taking too long. I think I needed to filter my data there. You do have the ability over here. You've got formatting. You can change the colors of your report and the style. There are some preset themes even. You can go in and change the data format per field, so you can change a field to a text field or a number field, etc. And then you can also, under report settings, you can adjust the report name, where it's saved, that description box, and then this is also where you can go in to convert it to an advanced report. Another big change for reporting is you actually now can also have multiple tabs open, which means you can also run multiple reports and have them open at the same time. Super sexy and awesome. You may cheer. See the formatting formula for phone numbers. Yes. Yeah. Numbers, especially like phone numbers, are just saved as unformatted strings in the back end. So if you do want the phone numbers to be pretty, then yeah, you need to format that manually that way. Any other questions about reporting, right? The new reporting functionality.
Yeah. Hi, Terry. This is Janice. One of the frustrations I've had is sometimes I go in and use advanced search just as a quick and easy way to pull information. But I find that the categories in advanced search, when I do and try to export to a CSV, they don't carry over into the CSV data. And so what I'm kind of asking is the fields that are in ExpressView, would that replicate pretty much what I'm seeing now in advanced search as far as available information?
No, advanced search, I covered this kind of in the Getting Started webinar and some of the reporting webinars, but the export from advanced search is a fixed template. You get particular fields and that's it. You can't customize the export from advanced search. In reporting, however, you are exporting the report. It's sort of two completely different functionalities. What I tell people is if you like the interface for advanced search and for reporting purposes, what you can do is you can create an advanced search, save it, and then you dump it into a report, and then you can customize the output when you export.
Okay.
So we have a couple of tutorials in the support library about how to use a saved search in a report, but that's kind of the workaround for if you've written a saved search but you want to customize the columns when you export it. You drop it into a report, and you would do that with a standard report. You cannot do that to an ExpressView.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'm going to be doing a webinar on ExpressView, specifically about ExpressView and going in depth to it. So today is just kind of an overview of here's this thing and it's coming out. But if you actually want to know how to use it, I will be doing a webinar on Thursday, July 20th. and you'll see that listed at fundlyevent.com, which is the list of all of our upcoming webinars. So I do encourage everyone to come to that webinar, and we'll go a little more in depth about how to use this ExpressView thing. It's pretty awesome. I think you all are going to really like this interface. So Janice is asking, category sort and all of the stuff you currently use is in standard reports, Janice. It's still there. So ExpressView is a different type of report. Standard reports have been renamed to advanced. There's still Express reports, which are similar to standard reports, but it has a slimmed down interface and doesn't have all the functionality of an advanced report. Any of you who've ever taken any of my reporting webinars know that I tell you to ignore Express reports and don't even use them. They're not helpful. So ExpressView, this is just a completely different reporting interface. It's brand new, completely different than what you guys have been using before, and it's this drag and drop interface. The reporting interface that you've currently been using is advanced reports now. Any more questions about reporting? I think you guys are going to love this thing. It's super fun to play with. I just love playing with it, just drag and drop. So for basic and simple reports, this is going to be the way to go. And it definitely, instead of having to go through the 5 steps and the multiple tabs, everything's kind of in one window, which makes it a lot easier to use. This interface as well for filters is more similar to advanced search. So I think those of you who like the interface of advanced search and use that more for your reporting because you kind of understand the logic of how to put together queries using the advanced search, this ExpressView logic works pretty much the same way and kind of the same layout and setup. So I think you guys will find this more intuitive. All right. Last call, reporting questions, and then we're moving on to communications. All right, I think that's it. So, communications. Communications is going to be one of the biggest changes that you guys are going to see when you come in on Monday. Well, sort of. There's some caveats coming here. So, currently, your communications are split into 5 areas. You've got manage templates is one area, and then you have 4 separate areas for producing print labels and print letters. This is a mail merge function that exists inside your system where you can create a letter and then you can tell the system what contacts you want to pull. You can write a little report or a little query, pull it in, and then the system will mail merge those letters for you. So it'll personalize all the letters, dropping like the names into the name placeholder, and produce a PDF or Word document that you can use to print out your letters and stuff them in the envelopes and mail them off. Newsletters, where you go to produce your newsletters. Send acknowledgements for donation acknowledgements, and year-end thank yous are a particular type of donation acknowledgement that are a year-end tax receipt that lists all of the donations that a donor made in 1 year in the same letter. These are currently 5 different areas, and usually the flow for most clients is they go to manage templates, they set up their content file, so they would write their donation acknowledgement letter, or they will create their newsletter template or their newsletter content file. And then they will go into newsletter and do the 3 tabs, the 3 steps that are there to set up the sender name and the subject line, and then pick your recipients, who's going to get it, and then schedule it to go out. Donation acknowledgements, you'll then go in, there's a queue that's waiting of these are donors who've made donations that they're waiting for an acknowledgement letter, and you can go in and generate those acknowledgement letters and send them out either via email or produce a PDF or Word file that you print out for hard copies that are mailed. This is all getting collapsed into one area. So you're going to have one communications area with the new build. And the flow is going to change, and the user interface is going to change. When you come in Monday, instead, what you're going to see is your new menu will look like this. And you can create a new communication, or you can go to the history, or you can go straight into donation acknowledgements. We had some people ask for a shortcut to donation acknowledgements, so we have added that. Going into your history, you're going to see a list of all of your communications that you have sent. They're going to be together on one screen. You can filter, so you can search. You'll be able to filter by type of communication. the status, whether it went out or not, and whether it was the type, print, or email, and the dates that it was sent. So you're going to see it here, so you'll be able to tell the difference between newsletters, letters, and donation acknowledgements. You'll see the status. From here, you will be able to delete communications, edit them. For anything that is waiting to be sent, you'll be able to process it and push it on through and finish generating it. To create a new communication, you're going to go to either Create New Communication from the menu on the left, or you're going to go to Create New Communication from the button on the lower right. This is going to bring you to your template index screen. This is kind of the new replacement for managed templates now. All of your templates are here. There's a lot of functionality changes here. System templates currently, when you, in the current system, when you go to Manage Templates, when you have this Add Template, this is basically like create a new template. It brings up this list of system or master templates, and then you select one of these, and then you go in and edit it to create your content file or to personalize it. Those system or master templates are now accessible right here on this index screen, and you'll know which ones those are because they have this little gray system bar at the bottom, versus your templates, which you've configured yourself, which are under the My Templates tab. So you'll have the system templates, you'll have your templates. So the system ones are the ones that we've created that are just sort of blank and waiting for content. In addition, the preview that you see here now will actually be a thumb shot of the snapshot, sorry, or a thumbnail of the actual, what the template actually looks like. Currently, in your current system, when you're in Manage Templates, you see the snapshot or the thumbnail of the base template that it was created from. So these all look the same, right? Like all the yellow ones look the same, even though if I preview these, they look different inside because somebody went and filled them out and configured them. But all you see is the master template that it was created from, which isn't really all that helpful because you're like, but I want to know what it actually looks like. So like if I go into this one, what does it look like? That one actually is not configured, so it doesn't actually look like that. There we go. So this one looks different here than it does in the preview, right? So that's the current system. In the new system, this preview will actually be what your letter looks like. So you will actually kind of have a better snapshot of what each of these templates look like. In addition, this is my new word of the month. You're going to hear me using it a lot because the technical team used it and now it's stuck in my head. But templates have been bifurcated. That's my new word of the month. Bifurcated into email optimized templates and print optimized templates. One of the current frustrations is that in the current system, all templates are really email optimized. And even when you spend a lot of time trying to configure a template for print, it doesn't always export to PDF or Microsoft Word in the same way that it looks on your screen. We have corrected that by making print optimized templates that should print true to Word and PDF and will appear when you spit them out and export them the same way that they do on your screen. You will be able to tell each template whether it's print or I think these are all print, email, let's see, go back. You will be able to tell if it's print or email by the little colored triangle in the corner. In addition, there are some flow changes now. So when you come in to a template, you can use it to create a communication, or you can edit that baseline template. When you select Use, this will put you into the communication flow. You're going to come into setting up the template, so you can come in and you can edit this template if you want to. You're going to notice some UI changes here. Most of the managed template functionality is the same, but we've moved the layout a little bit. For instance, the widgets are now over here on the left to make more room on the right for the actual style changes. This was because people were not seeing a lot of the formatting options, like they weren't seeing like the meta page options, like where you set the page margins and the default font and background colors and stuff. So we wanted to highlight this and make this more sort of easier to see. In addition, when you're inside one of these widgets, people weren't seeing some of the options like the style tab, and they weren't seeing this placeholder drop down. So we tried to make that super big so you can't miss it. We have now also introduced an auto save function. One of the other frustrations that clients were having is that you could work in your template, and if you left the screen without saving, there was no validation that warned you that you were leaving without saving changes. And also sometimes you could be working in here and your system would time out and it wouldn't have saved your changes and you lose them all. So we now have introduced an autosave function that will save, I believe the technical team told me it was every minute. I think it's every minute, a couple minutes, maybe every 3 minutes, every 3 minutes. So every 3 minutes, this will autosave for you. Once you finish playing with your template, you will click Go to Next Step, and then you'll be taken into the flow to generate whatever communication you've picked. This was a donation acknowledgement template, so I'm going to be taken into the donation acknowledgement flow now to actually generate my donation acknowledgements. This main screen will look pretty familiar. This is kind of the same screen that you have now. Beyond this step, however, there are some very significant changes. If I select a template and I go to generate it, you still can change templates from what is queued up, and you can also opt to skip, and you can unskip by changing template as well. But if I go in to generate this acknowledgement letter, what you're going to see now is because the templates are bifurcated into print and email, you can no longer produce both print and both email letters from the same batch for donation acknowledgements. So as you can see here, this was set to mail. I can change the entire batch to email, but I cannot select per recipient whether they get email or mail. It's all or none for batches now. So all email or all mail. In addition, email batches, email donation acknowledgement letters will now be sent as a PDF attachment to your email rather than in the body of the email. You will be able to format the body of the email, but all recipients will get the same email body. Then they'll each get their own personalized letter in the batch. So you cannot personalize the email body per person, only the letter per person. You still can go in and edit each individual letter. You can still remove people from the batch. You will be able to change communication preferences on the fly here. So if somebody in this batch did not have an email address on their record or had their email communication preference set to no or not set, you would be able to change that preference or add an email address directly here on the fly. For anybody who doesn't have a mailing address, you will have to go back to the record and fix that from there. You can generate your print letters as Word or PDF and click Process, and that is the equivalent of done printing in the current system. For newsletters, there are a few key changes. I confused it. I just hit like 6 things at once. It's like, what do you want to do, lady? Pick one. So if we go into newsletters, and I'm going to select one of these to use, and I'm going to be put into the newsletter flow. Some of the changes that we've made here, when we go to next step, you're going to be able to see a preview of your newsletter now when you're in the newsletter configurations and setting it, including the ability to generate a mobile preview. This first tab is pretty much the same as it was before, so I'm just going to very quickly. And then save and proceed. Select recipients, still the same as it currently is. And then you'll see the changes on the third tab. So you're going to see how many people are selected, what your subject line is. We've made it more apparent that you can schedule newsletters. Currently in the current flow, it just says like send. And when you click that, it brings up the button that says, do you want to send it now or schedule it? So it makes it appear that you can't schedule it and causes some confusion. So we've moved that up here to make it clearer. You can now send yourself an internal email to notify you when this email has been processed and sent, when the newsletter actually goes out. So you don't have to keep checking the status to see if when it changes from processing to sent. It will email you now. In addition, the send test email function is a little clearer, and down here you're going to have that preview, and you can also switch to mobile view for the previewing as well. We got some questions. about the donation acknowledgement. So we'll go back to there in a second, and I'll get all those donation acknowledgement questions. Another large change is that previously labels and letters were a print-only function. It was for generating hard copy letters and hard copy labels. The letters function now will allow you to email letters. So you can email those letters, or you can create print letters. You can do both. So that's new and exciting. Those emailed letters will be like donation acknowledgements that are emailed. It will go as a PDF attachment to the email. Any questions? So start sending in those questions. I'll go back to donation and acknowledgements in a second. Any questions about kind of the overall general flow here?
Terry, I just was curious about, is there going to be a date? I'm sure there must be a date set for a more intensive webinar regarding the changes to the communications module.
That is a very good question. Yes, Tuesday, the following Tuesday after the build comes out. So it is Tuesday the 25th is a communications webinar that will go over this in depth and take you step by step on how to generate newsletters, how to work with the donation acknowledgements, etc.
Super, thank you.
Laura asked, do these emails count as an communication toward the limit? Laura, there is no limit on emails. We don't have a limit that we set. So no-ish, yes-ish. Yes, they count towards your bulk emailing as any like the newsletters would or anything, but we don't have a limit. So.
Hi, I actually have a question.
Yeah.
Does this integrate with Google Analytics in any way?
No.
No? Okay, so we wouldn't be able to track like links or anything like that. Okay, got it.
No, we've never been able to track links, but for newsletters, it does have its own analytics. So you can see the number sent, the number opened, how many clicked, but you can't see like specifically what links that they clicked. I don't have, this is our demo system, so I don't have any real newsletters in here, but going back to the real system, you'll still have the same analytics that you currently have in the current system. So you will be able to go to the history tab and go into any of your newsletters and click the view summary, which will bring up the analytics to tell you how many opened, how many clicked, your bounces, both hard and soft, how many unsubscribed, how many complained you were a spammer, total clicks, total opens, and successful deliveries.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Laura. Okay. Then yes, in your case, so, and if you are somebody who has one of those special sort of grandfathered deals, then yes, bulk communications and I think the donation acknowledgements count towards it as well, but definitely the newsletters, they will count towards that still. That has not changed. Any other questions about kind of the flow, overall kind of flow? Then I'll go back to donation acknowledgements. Then I've got the caveats for you. So there's some very important caveats, because you may have noticed a couple of big buttons at the top of the screen that I didn't hit yet, and want to explain what those are. These big buttons that I've been avoiding talking about. All right. Okay, so going back to the donation acknowledgement. So somebody says, what is the line about the communication? So all of you hopefully know, you should know, and if you don't, this is why you should come to my webinars. In CRM v2, in order to send an email through the system to any contact, that contact's communication preference for email must be set to yes. It cannot be set to not set or no. It must be set to yes. So if you go to try to email a donation acknowledgement letter to somebody and their communication preference is not set, the system won't let you email them. But you can set it from inside the send acknowledgements area now. That's a new functionality that we've introduced. There's a little bit of that in your current version. We introduced a kind of the, beta version of being able to toggle that communication preference from inside, and we've expanded that for here. So now if I go in, well, actually go back to the system, and you're also going to notice when you come into the donation acknowledgement area, you're going to be able to see right from here if any of these templates are waiting for, they have letters waiting to go basically. So this one has 31 donation acknowledgements waiting to be generated, and I can do that right from here. I don't have to go to the send acknowledgements. I can just click on this, and if this letter is fine and I'm ready for it to go, it'll bump me into here. So if I pick a couple of these people now, and I'm going to generate their selected items, and depending on whether this was a print or a email specific template, it's going to pull up by default. So if I switch to email, so this person, you'll notice their box is grayed out. Either their communication preference for email is not set to yes, or they don't have an email address, which in this case, she doesn't have an email. So we're going to click on that, and I can add an email address. So I could say menti@example.com, and then I can say update for this communication only, which means I'm only adding this email and setting her communication preference to yes for this donation acknowledgement. I am not changing the contact records communication preference permanently. I'm only doing it temporarily so I can send this email acknowledgement, or I can update the contact record, which means change it permanently. Update this person's communication preference to yes so that they will get any and all email communications, newsletters, emails, event invites, etc. that I send to them. So that's what that's all about. And then so now I've updated her, and now it'll let me go. Somebody asked if you can drop placeholders into the body of the email. No, you cannot. That is not a functionality that has been introduced here. Will current acknowledgement letters be transferred as formatted? Hang on to that question, Erin. I'm going to get to that in 1 second because that's going to be part of the caveats and disclaimers. Other questions about donation acknowledgements now? So from here, you'll see this is kind of, you get just a basic email editor. You can set the sender name, the from email, and the subject line. There will be a default template that pre-populates that you will be able to edit your default template. So what it drops in here, but you can edit this per batch as well. All right, so those caveats and disclaimers, and what are those buttons I've been avoiding talking about? Well, we know that the changes to the communications module are pretty big. They're pretty severe. It's both a user interface and a flow change, as well as some functionality change. And it's going to take you guys some time to get used to it and become familiar and get all trained up. And we also know that the communications is one of the linchpins of your daily operations, that kind of putting a monkey wrench into being able to generate donation acknowledgements or newsletters with this big change would not be very user-friendly and it would be very frustrating. So we are going to allow all of you to preview and get used to the new communications before you're permanently switched. So we're basically kind of going with a long rollout. This will be available to you as of July 17th, and you can preview it up until about September 15th. We're going to give everybody about 6 weeks. And then around September 15th, and there'll be plenty of notices going out warning you that it will become permanent. So when you come into the office on July 17th, you're still going to have your old communications menu. If I click that, get over there. There we go. Let me let this page refresh. So what's going to happen is when you come in on the report stuff is changing. July 17th, the reports interface has changed. Like that is going, pages, that's going. But this will be sort of a hidden module, because what you'll see is you'll have your old, your current menu, but you'll have this preview new communications interface. If you click that, it'll bring you here. And then you're going to have the option to either go, oh my God, I don't like this, take me back to the old one, or go to the new one. So first you're going to kind of get this preview screen, and then you're like, okay, yeah, change me. This is still temporary, so it's going to pop up and warn you, okay, it's going to change your menu. It's going to hide your old menu and replace it with the new menu. And every time you come to anywhere in communications, it's going to bring you to the new area. So just make sure you're cool with that. But you can move back to the old one if you want it. So you say, got it. And then it's going to have this screen. And then going forward until you say either yes, make this permanent, or no, go back to the old, you'll have these two options. What I'm about to say next is super important. This try new communication from the main menu and then the switch to new communication is per organization. It is not per user in your organization. So any one person on your staff who clicks the button and switches the interface switches it for everybody on your staff. Please make sure your staff understand that, because if somebody's working in here and then somebody else decides to be creative or curious and clicks the button, suddenly everybody has changed, whether they were expecting it or not, or whether they know what's happening or not. And then they're going to be like, oh my God, what just happened? So please be aware of that. So you can switch back to your old communications if you're like, I'm right in the middle of trying to do a big, annual appeal, and I'm generating acknowledgement letters, and I can't deal with this right now. I got to wait 2 weeks till I can get trained on this because today is not a good day. Then you can always switch back to the old one until you click this button. When you click this button, I'm ready for new communications, it's going to warn you this action is irreversible. This makes it permanent. So everything up to this point is temporary. You can switch back and forth between the old and new at will until you click this blue button, and then it's permanent. What will happen is your templates need to be migrated. We have to manually migrate your templates from their existing format, where they are not bifurcated, to the bifurcated system. So what will happen is once you click this and you say, yep, I've got it, I understand this is going to be permanent, migrate my data, you will lose your old menu instantly, and you will be in the new communications forever and ever and ever. But your communications history and your templates will be migrated by us. That can take anywhere from a few hours up to 5 business days for the templates. The history will go over pretty fast depending on how many previous communications you've generated. It may be 30 minutes, it might be a couple of hours, but your history will pop up in the history tab. So once you click this, there will be a few hours of lag where you will not have access to your sent communications history. So that's probably a good button to click right before you leave work one night. So we have overnight to migrate your history, and when you come in the next day, your history is populated and there's no lag for you. The templates will automatically, by default, be migrated to email optimized, because that's basically what they all are in the current system. There is no print optimized template. You may have managed to make it print optimized through your settings and setup, and style, but the technology under it is optimized for email. So everything by default will go as email. If you have templates that you want to be optimized for print, you need to let us know. And we will manually migrate those. And those may take up to 5 business days to go, because we're going to have to build those basically for you by scratch. There is no charge for that we will do that complimentary. What will happen is once you click this migrate data button, a notice will come to the support desk that you have started this process. The history and your email templates are through an automated script. So that's going to start working in the background instantly. But support will get an email saying, hey, XYZ org is starting the process. And we'll reach out to you and say, by the way, okay, this is what give you the reminder. It may take a few hours for your history to pop up. It could take a few hours for those email templates to pop up. And do you have any templates that need to be transferred to print? So we will also try to reach out to you, but you don't have to wait for us. You can email us and just send us a list and say, okay, template A and template XYZ and template LMN need to be print optimized. And just email that to support@fundly.com. Any questions about any of that? Because this is sort of, I buried the lead a little bit. These are sort of the very important caveats that you need to know and make sure that you're all aware of. You're all stunned into silence. All right. Well, now you're all making me nervous. So, how are y'all feeling about this? Are you feeling good? Excited? Okay, Cheryl's excited. We're very happy, Cheryl. Okay, good. All right, good. Okay. And so I do want to give a little shout out. We do have a couple people on the call who were beta testers and gave us some wonderful feedback. that helped contribute to the user friendliness and the ease of use of this. So we do really appreciate those people. I don't want to embarrass anybody, so I won't name you. If you want to out yourselves, you can. But their feedback was super invaluable, and we really appreciate the beta testers that took the time to give us an hour or two to go through this with us. And hopefully you'll see that we've made quite a few tweaks based on this as well. The ultimate deadline to switch is going to be around September 15th. So that's the date we're targeting. It will sort of depend on what happens if everybody holds off till the last second. It hasn't really gotten up to speed. We may have to extend that, but we're really going to push hard to make it have September 15th, have everybody switched over. So you can switch before then. When you switch this, I'm ready, you can switch Monday. Monday, you can switch if you want. If you're like, hey, this is cool and I like it much better than the current interface, I'm going for it, then you can switch Monday. Or you can wait a few weeks, play with it, come to the webinar, get trained, get your staff trained, switch later in July, switch in August. But beginning of September, you're going to start seeing emails coming through saying, just a reminder, you've got 2 weeks. Just a reminder, you've got a week. Just a reminder, you got 3 days. And warning you that the UI will be switched on that date. It is a lot of new stuff. So we are doing the webinars. So again, fundlyevent.com is the list of all of our upcoming webinars. So Thursday, July 20th will be the one for reporting, for the new ExpressView reports, which again, I really think you guys are going to like. And we on the support team saw it from Exago 3 months ago, I think. And I've been excited since then. When Exago first released it to preview to us, it wasn't cooked. It wasn't quite ready, so we had to wait for them to do some things to it. Like you couldn't export before and you couldn't filter and some of those other functionality that we really wanted to see. So I've been sitting on it for like 3 months, just super excited and wanted to tell you all it was coming, and I couldn't because we didn't have a date, and now it's here at last. So July 20th, basic reporting, and then the current webinar that I call basic reporting is now being called intermediate reporting, and that's going to be using standard reports or advanced reports, and that will be offered as well in July on the 27th. And then on the 25th, communicating with contacts, we'll go over all of the kind of soup to nuts, how to do donation acknowledgements, newsletters, etc. I will record those webinars if I remember. I always try to, and then I sometimes forget. I was lucky that I remembered today to record this one. I will be, once we get off this call, it usually takes anywhere from about 30 minutes to 45 minutes for the recording to convert to MP3 format, and then it will go up into the support library. So I think I will add it. Where should I add it? I will add it to the newsletter section, so it'll be the most apparent, I guess. So then it will be available for you guys to re-listen to this or to direct any of your staff who couldn't make it too. So it will be up later today. And then I will record those other webinars. And then starting in August, we're going to have multiple webinars per month. So in August, we're going to have a webinar on ExpressView, a webinar on intermediate reporting, and then I'm also working on an advanced reporting and talking about some of the other types of reports that exist, like dashboards and change reports and crosstabs and those kind of reports as well. Yes, so somebody asked, once you switch with the acknowledgements letter, yeah, your queue should switch as well automatically. So you shouldn't lose your queue of donation acknowledgement letters. Should be waiting for you. There'll be a little bit of a lag while the templates move over and that queue moves over, but that lag should only be, like I said, 30 minutes to a couple of hours. It should be fairly quick. And the recording. So, and for anybody who will be looking for recordings of webinars, you can find all of that. Plus there's tutorials. I'm working on getting all the tutorials up for the new communications. I've already got the ExpressView tutorial written, and it will go live on Monday. But from the support link in your CRM, you can come to the support library. I think I'm going to put the today's recording, I'll put under newsletters, unless you think there's somewhere more intuitive that would make sense for you guys. But otherwise, I'll put it under newsletters. there is a newsletter that went out June 23rd that has screenshots of this and kind of details some of this as well. So for those of you like me who are better at visual and want something in writing, and the newsletter that goes out on Monday that has the detailed details will be here as well. So if you don't get a newsletter by end of business on Monday detailing the new build stuff, it will be in the support library. Let's see, just make sure, did I miss any questions? I know the questions have been coming in a bit, trying to make sure I'm getting them all. So do I miss anybody? And then, of course, as always, so there's a lot of you here today, and many of you who I have not seen in my webinars before. So fundlyevent.com is a list of all of our upcoming webinars. We do have free daily webinars and trainings on rotating topics. So tomorrow, what am I doing tomorrow? What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is the 13th. What am I doing tomorrow? Oh, I'm doing events tomorrow. So I'll be going over the events module. Every Friday, we do have a drop-in live drop-in help forum, one for CRM and one for Connect, for those of you who are Connect clients. No charge for this. All of the details are in the event description. You don't even have to sign up. You can just get the Zoom meeting credentials and come in. I am there right up until noon Pacific, whether anybody shows up or not. So if you can't be there right at 11, that's fine. If you come sliding in the door like Kramer from Seinfeld at 11:50, that's perfectly okay too. And then every Monday we do have the Getting Started webinar, which is an overview. Any of you who missed it or took it a long time ago, or if you have any new staff, this is a good place to start because I kind of do an overview of all the features and functionality and navigation within the system. So if you feel like maybe you haven't been using the system to its full potential and want to learn more about everything it can do, or you want kind of the latest update on any of the new hidden little features, that's a good webinar to do as well. And then Tuesday, I will be going over working with donations, which will include donation acknowledgements as well. So if you can't come to the one on the 25th for communications, you will get the donation acknowledgement piece a little bit as well with the working with donations one on next Tuesday. All right, I think that's it for me. Any questions? All right, if not, I will let you go and think on all that and process that. If you do have any questions, just email us at support@fundly.com. Thanks, everyone. It was a pleasure to have you all here today and see you, and I hope I talk to you again soon.